Yes, my friends, this is bacon. And I don't know, thank God I'm a Christian, because if I couldn't eat pork, what would you do without bacon, right? So not only are we cooking bacon today, notice how a couple of them are up on the side of the pan. You know, bacon's kind of sticky. It's you can stick it up on the side. It may slide down, but I just didn't have room in the bottom. I don't want to stack the bacon. But as it cooks, the bacon will contract. It'll get smaller. Then I will get it all in the pan. So the stuff on the side may not cook as fast in the beginning or whatever. But anyway, this is the other half of the pack of bacon. If you saw my last video, I was making hamburgers. And so I used half the pack of bacon on my hamburgers. Now I got half a pack left. I need to go ahead and cook it. I don't want to put it in the freezer. I don't really like to freeze meat if I don't have to, unless I'm, stocking up, or like say we're getting a deer process or something like that, sure. But if I go buy it fresh at the grocery store, I want to cook it fresh. But that's just me. What we're gonna do today too, still got the sticker on here, so I bought these at Walmart in Alabama. Your prices may be different, so I'll cover up the price. But I've got these. These are ribeye chops. They're basically boneless pork chops, or pork, I don't know, ribeye chops. I'm not sure what the difference is, but it's the ribeye version of a pork. They look pretty good. You want to have, just like we talked about before, you want to have a little bit of fat in there to render with the meat. So what I'm going to do, you can probably already guess, I'm just going to get all the bacon cooked, and then I'm going to use the grease, and I may pour some of it out. We'll see how much it makes. But I'll use that grease to then fry those pork chop, what do they call them? Ribeye chops. So, and then I've still got bread left. I bought a 12 pack, so I still got 6 pieces of bread left. I'm going to use those pork ribeye chops with the bacon, and so, I've still got some tomato, lettuce, cheese, all that. So I'm going to basically make some more sandwiches. But now that we've used up the ground beef, we're just swapping over to these pork ribeye chops. So anyway, let me do this, and I shall return. All right, we are back. The bacon is about halfway cooked, I guess you could say. Again, medium heat, like 5. Didn't take but just a few minutes. I'm going to flip over all the bacon, and then see, it cooks just fine on the side. It's the same pan. Tried to get the bacon not touching, but obviously it was touching. Anyway, flippy. I love bacon. I hate cooking bacon. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I just wrap it in a bunch of paper towels and stick it in the microwave. But yeah, I get to clean my oven, my stove top. I'm gonna have grease everywhere after I get done with this little project, but that's okay. It's worth it because it is really good to eat. There's no doubt in my mind that it is excellent food to eat. Now, you don't want to eat too much bacon all the time. I actually don't buy bacon hardly ever. It's gotten so expensive. It's just something I've been doing without. So I bought this pack of bacon. Thought I got a pretty good deal on it the other day. So I went ahead and bought a pack of bacon. I haven't had bacon in months, literally. So treat myself a little bit. Why not? These steaks are sitting here waiting. I'm not going to season them yet. I'm going to be cooking them. Usually I cook this stuff in just a little bit of olive oil. But again, I'm trying to treat myself to this one, once in a while pack of bacon. So I'm going to use like I said, the bacon grease to cook it. So I don't really need to season it much. The bacon grease is going to flavor that pork really well. I'll end up putting some pepper on it, maybe a little garlic. But yeah, it doesn't need much. I don't drown my food in just a whole lot of sauce and a whole lot of spices all the time, because I actually like the taste of food. I know some people can't eat anything. I mean, I've seen people put ketchup on their eggs. Some people just can't eat anything without drowning it. And I guess my theory, I'm not trying to make anybody mad, my theory is they probably grew up with and nobody in the house could cook very well. So when you cook food that tastes bad, you bury it in ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, barbecue sauce, whatever is available, yum sauce. I like some of that stuff in moderation from time to time. But my thing is, if I can't eat the meat without any sauce, then what's the point in burying it in sauce? Let's learn how to cook it right. And then you can add some sauce if you want from time to time, but you should be able to eat the meat without sauce as well. Anyway, I'm going to let the bacon finish cooking. Mia is thinking this is for her, I guess. Mia, what are you doing? What are you doing? How come every time I'm in the kitchen, you're in the kitchen? You look like you weigh about 100 pounds. You look, she got her shaggy winter coat. I haven't given her a haircut in a while, so she's about half that size without her hair. You look like a big old girl. You got your wolf winter coat and everything. You want to eat some of this bacon? We don't eat it raw. Let me cook it, and then we'll sample the bacon a little bit while we eat the pork, or while we cook the pork. What do you think? Yeah, maybe some splattered on the ground. Go ahead and lick it up. That's fine. You do you. All right, I'll be back. Cooking bacon. All right, so I did move some of the more cooked bacon on the inside out, some of the less cooked bacon on the outside in, and it's kind of finishing up here. I like my bacon cooked pretty well. You know, I don't just cook it until it gets crunchy and hard and crazy, but that's just how I like it. I like mine, I don't want to say chewy, but I don't like my bacon to get too crispy. Of course, I use a plate with some napkins, soak up some of the excess. You know, it's not going to taste better if it's wet than it is if it dries off a little bit, so we'll dry it off a little bit. We'll try to keep some sort of semblance of eating healthy. And I'm not going to say eating bacon's bad for you. Obviously, you don't want to eat a pound of bacon every day, but you need to eat real food. You know, I'd rather eat a pound of bacon than eat a can of Beanie Weenies, which is full of sugar and who knows what. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to cut down a product specifically necessarily, but, you know, this is real food. This is whole food. This is real food. This is what you need to eat, which is why I'm trying to show people that you can cook and it's not hard. So anyway, I'm going to put that's not a whole lot of grease in there. There's some, but it's not like it's deep frying. So I'm just going to put the pork in there. So fortunately, all of it did fit in the pan. I like this pan. It's kind of it's not really a wok. It's not deep dish enough to be a wok, but it's called a stir fry pan, but it's basically a huge frying surface. So I like it for doing kind of larger batches. I'm going to put some pepper on these. I love pepper, so I need to get some more white pepper. I'm out. This is just regular black pepper. It's already ground. So I'm just going to put a little pepper on my, like I said, there's going to be plenty of, this is pork anyway, and I'm cooking it in bacon grease. So it's not like we need to put a bunch of salt on there. But what I will do is put a little garlic powder on there. I've kind of trained myself anyway that I try to eat garlic where most people would eat salt. You know, not a whole lot of garlic because you don't want to just take over. But if you kind of train yourself to eat garlic instead of salt, then you're not getting, so many people eat way too much sodium. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for your blood pressure. It's not good for, you know, if you got your legs and feet are swelling, things like that. Well, maybe try to cut back on your sodium. When you buy vegetables in a can, buy vegetables that are sodium reduced or they don't use salt at all. You know, when you're buying corn or green beans or any kind of canned vegetables or even canned soup, if you can, always get the no salt added or the low sodium version. It's going to be better for you. And I promise you, you don't need as much as they put in that stuff a lot of times. It's kind of I don't know, the best way I can describe it is most people are so used to eating just tremendous amounts of sodium and salt that it's kind of in their palate. I mean, go watch a chef on TV, probably the most famous chef in the world on all of his cooking shows. Every time he eats something, he's like, more spice, more spice, more spice. He's talking about salt. He loves salt. His food, and I'm sure it's great. He's a 5-star, billions of Michelins. You know, he knows more than I do. I'm not saying his food doesn't taste good, but I can't help it when I watch his show to go, man, you're cooking steaks and you're adding butter and salt to steaks. Like, yeah, they're going to taste good, but I mean, if you ate that kitchen every day, it's not, I wouldn't exactly call it health food. So now, having said that, I am cooking pork chops in bacon grease. So this is not a healthy dish either. I'm just trying to say we eat way too much salt. We need to cut back on salt. If you don't believe me, go ask your doctor. These are not going to take that long to cook. They're fairly thin. Like I said, we're half on 5. So it's not going to take that long to cook. Probably about 5 or 6 minutes on each side. And then, well, 5 or 6 minutes. I'll flip it over. We'll go another 5 or 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. You do want to cook pork all the way. I think yesterday we said the hamburger temperature, if I remember right, I used to be a cook at Fuddruckers a long time ago. But I think meat or beef is supposed to be 160, I guess, to fight off E. coli or possible bacteria. And then with like pork and chicken, you can't cook it medium, or it's got to be well done. Matter of fact, most people overcook chicken to the point where it's dry. And it's kind of dry and stringy. But that's just because we're so afraid to eat it if it's not cooked all the way. So pork's the same way. I think the temperature on pork and chicken is actually 190 if you're trying to measure. But yeah, I would say, I didn't look at the clock, I'm sorry. So around 5 to 7 minutes. You don't need to flip them 1,000 times. We talked about that yesterday. That's a huge mistake people make. It makes you cook your food longer, which ends up basically making your food tougher and sometimes even dries it out. So you can see the sides are turning white. Like I said, stuff actually cooks faster in some grease than it does. Like this is a nonstick pan. I could just put them in there with no grease. It'll actually cook faster with the grease because it kind of surrounds the meat and not just hits it from the bottom. But you can see those sides are turning white. I'm going to flip these over probably another 5 to 7 minutes, and then they should be done. And you can tell by touching meat. If it's soft and mushy, it's still raw. And as it cooks and cooks and cooks, it'll kind of get a little, I don't want to say hard, but it gets a little bit, it doesn't mush in as much when you touch it. You can feel the meat firming up. So when it's nice and firm, you know it's cooked all the way without having to cut it open and spill all the juice out of it. Because just like chicken and steak and hamburgers yesterday, these have to rest as well. So I'm going to flip them, shall return. Okay, I'm back. So I flipped them, and then I put some chili powder on there. I ate at a restaurant one time. I don't remember. It might have been Firebirds. Anyway, I ate at a restaurant one time, and they had a steak called a Delmonico. And it said on the menu that the Delmonico included, I remember having chili powder or chili spices on it. So now, when I cook steak or sometimes pork chops at home, I put like salt and pepper, garlic, whatever, on one side. Then I flip them over when they're about halfway done cooking, and I'll put a bunch of chili powder on the other side. With my steaks, I'll actually put the chili powder on. Sometimes I'll rub it in, kind of. But with this, I'm going to cook it again for about 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to flip them over again to allow the chili powder to kind of, right now it's kind of getting sticky. As it sits there and cooks, it'll get stuck to the pork chops to some degree. And I'll flip them over for a couple more minutes on the other side to kind of let the chili powder cook into them as well. So it's not just raw chili powder. It'll also mix with that fluid. So you lose some of the process, but it flavors the meat at the same time. So like I said, maybe about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll flip them over one more time. So we're almost done. I flipped them back over. Now the chili powder side is down. This is the pepper and garlic side facing up. They're almost done. And then I'm going to come over here. We already cooked the bacon. I'm making a sandwich. I got some lettuce, tomatoes, some pickle, and I'm not going to use any sauce on this because I already flavored the meat, in my opinion. Between the bacon and the chili powder and everything, it's going to be really good. Anyway, just let it cook. Like I said, I flipped it over. I'm going to let it cook for, see the sauce is kind of turning colors. Give that a couple more minutes to cook. Make sure they're nice and done. Then I'll flip them over one more time just so this side can kind of touch that sauce I've made for just a few seconds. And then we'll put them on a plate and make some sandwiches and have a good time. So as you see this video, I'm trying to think, it didn't take that long. Like I said, 5 to 7 minutes on each side. Then we're going to do just a quick cook on both sides again to get the juices, and then we'll call it a day. Y'all have a good one, and I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and comment, etc.